Okay, hello and welcome to this video. I'm going to talk to you just about how things have been going this week. Obviously, very traumatic what happened with the fire. I'm very upset about it. It was a close call, and you know, some people may think I'd be overreacting, which is unbelievable. How you could it was a close call. All right, that's the bottom line. But thanks to the firemen. And thanks to, I guess you could say, the sort of construction of this complex, the fire did not spread very far, and we're very fortunate for that. All right, there's still 5 units that are uninhabitable at this time. I think maybe 1 or 2 were completely destroyed by the fire, but the others in that building have smoke and water damage in that particular section of the building, because there's like 3 different parts of it, 3 different sections, so to speak, and it was mainly contained to that section. All right, so very upsetting, and there were a whole. If that fire did not happen, I probably would not have, sort of been wanting to move at this time. But to me, when the fire happened, it was a sign of the kind of neglect going on where I'm living, and I don't understand, because it wasn't like that when I moved here. It was very well kept. This is a wake-up call to people in this whole community, and really, you've got to be careful. You've got to take better care of things, because if you don't take care of things, I don't know how it started. I don't know if it was a space heater. I don't know if it was someone smoking. I don't know how it started. The bottom line is, people need to be more careful. They need to be more careful, and it was all very, very upsetting. They're getting out of bed and seeing what was going on and smelling the smoke, and I've been through that whole thing already. Very, very hard. A very scary situation. Fire is a very scary thing. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that it was contained, and that other than maybe when I open my window, I sometimes smell some smoke in the air, residual smoke. Other than that, there's no damage here. Some people say, people criticize me, and one person said, they didn't see anything wrong with where I'm living. They don't think that there's any neglect. I don't know. I think there is. There is neglect. I don't agree with that. They also said there's nothing wrong with Mineola. And look, Mineola is, I've been here over 4 years now, and it's going to be hard to leave. But I don't see things getting any better. And today there was another fire, this time in another apartment. It was more of a different kind of setup than what I had. It was like stores on the bottom and then apartments on the top. This was on 2nd Street and Main Street. I'll have a video for you on that as well. 2nd Street and Main Street in Mineola. And last year, I think it was last year, there was a bad fire that gutted an old building there that was in very bad shape. And I think I showed you that building before it caught fire, and it was really, really in bad, worse than here, obviously. It was really in bad shape. And this one that had the fire also appeared to be in bad shape too, as well. Unlike what happened here, where here they contained the fire basically to that one unit, and then the unit above it had smoke to damage. That building that caught fire tonight was completely gutted, and they're probably going to have to knock it down. So it was a lot worse of a fire. That's what I'm saying. It's fortunate that it wasn't as bad as it could have been. And I'm very grateful that it wasn't as bad as it could have been. There were a number of factors, probably due to the response from the fire department, though they responded very quickly there too, but I think it has to do with the construction. The construction here is much better and much more sound, and I guess that's one positive. But you still need to maintain it properly. Now, I'll let you know that the smoke detector situation finally was fixed. They finally got in touch with someone that was able to finally put a battery in there. They said that the battery was, they had to change the battery, but they should keep that backup battery in there, and when they change it, just don't leave no battery in there for like days on end. That's what I don't understand with that. It's very. Part of me is upset that that Mineola has taken this direction. I know there's nothing I can do to change it. There's nothing I can do to change it. Unfortunately, Mineola is being redlined. It is being turned into a low-income type of area, and I don't know why this is happening. It's just being neglected because, again, it's not a certain demographic. You know how I've been through this all a million times. It's only these communities with a certain demographic of these white finance professionals. You have to have a lot of them, and they have to represent the majority of the population for a community to get taken care of and to get maintained and to have its infrastructure taken care of and stuff like that, to get these businesses in there. I don't understand it. I mean, it's just so stupid, especially when a lot of these communities, particularly those on the South Shore, are going to experience flooding from a tropical storm or hurricane. They're at risk for that. I mean, a Category 3 hurricane. All right, I know I'll say, well, you should be okay if you're North America Road. That's okay if you're a Category 1 hurricane, but if you're a Category 3, which is entirely possible, it could go all the way up to Sunrise Highway. And that is going to put a lot of those towns, including Rockville Center, the heart of Rockville Center, the heart of these towns, underwater. So it's entirely possible. I'm not even going to go there when it comes to tidal waves and tsunamis and stuff like that, but that's also a risk too for that area. But I've seen it just doesn't seem like anything is going to change in Mineola. And to me, the fire was the wake-up call. It's like, all right, now you got to get out of here. All right, you got to get out of here. Now we're having all these fires here. I don't understand why this is happening. I mean, I do, but I don't. Neglect. I mean, it's one thing neglect, but why would anyone do something that would cause a fire risk? That I don't understand. Because fire is dangerous. Fire kills people, destroys property. It's nothing to fool around with. And you have to take every precaution possible to make sure fires don't start. All right? And fire hazards have to be dealt with. Whether that be a lot of trash, whether it be an apartment that is full of stuff, where there's tin, people. Some people, they just have their apartments full of trash, lying all around, and then there's old extension cords plugged in, and that's how it could start too. It has to be dealt with, and that reflects on the quality of tenants that you have living in Mineola. If you have tenants that aren't taking care of their places, that aren't taking care of themselves, that doesn't reflect good on Mineola itself. People will paint people in programs like that. I'm not saying there aren't people like that in programs, but there are people like that aren't in programs that don't take care of their apartments. You also have the thing with the smoking as well. And that's something that bothers me because I still am dealing with occasionally, especially when it's cold out. This guy, he's still smoking in his apartment. I still smell it coming up here. I'm scared he's going to start a fire. It's when you are in like Rockville Center and you look at the apartments there, and I've been walking around there a lot lately looking at the apartments there. They're kept up. I don't see cardboard in the windows. I don't see trash piled up around. It reflects that the tenants that live there take care of themselves, that they take care of their apartments. They take care of, and they're not creating hazards. And again, unfortunately, because I'm in a program, people are going to paint me as not worthy to live with normal mainstream people. And what I mean by normal mainstream people is people without mental illness, people that aren't in programs, people that are able to work and why should I be kept away from normal people just because I'm in a program? That's just wrong. That's discrimination. That's segregation. And I thought segregation was illegal. You know, it turns out that many of the people living in my neighborhood are in programs apparently. So it's like, why can't I just live with normal people? You know, I don't understand it. You know, I'm a quiet guy. I don't make noise. I don't understand why I have to be discriminated against. And you know, I'm clean. I keep things clean. I don't have fire hazards around. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't blast music. You know, but all people see is that, oh, he's in a program. He's low income. He's not worthy to live here. You know, and that's what I'm up against. That's the kind of discrimination I'm up against. You know, it's going to be very hard. I'm going to start looking, but it's going to be very hard. It's not going to be easy. I know it's going to take a long time to get out of here, all right? You know, when the fire first happened, I'm like, I got to get out of here. But in reality, I know it's going to take time. I don't know how long it's going to take. I know I said, I'll give it to the end of the year if I can't find something in a decent neighborhood. You know, otherwise I'm going to have to go and live in New Jersey. And that's still, unfortunately, an option. That's all part of the plan, of course, is that New York, you know, I met with my housing worker a couple of days ago, actually yesterday, and, you know, he said, well, New York, they just kind of, they make it very difficult, you know, when it comes to apartments, basically, for people in my type of program. They like to have basically a lot of apartments that have 2 or 3 people in them. And I can't live with roommates, so I can't deal with that. There's absolutely no way I could deal with that at all. Absolutely not. And that's the direction New York wants to move in with a lot of the new apartments that they rent now in the housing program, because it's more cost effective for them. Who cares about the people in the program who might want to have privacy? It's more cost effective for them. That's all it's about. It's all about money again. We come back to the fact it's all about money. You know, it's all about money, and that's all they care about. You know, and that's, you know, they don't care about the well-being of the people actually in the program, you know. You know, and I wish people, you know, I wish more people in mental health housing would make videos and speak up about what it's like. I'm like one of the only ones. And I know why they don't. It's because of what's happened to me. The intimidation, the bullying. It's continuing to go on. Getting nasty messages. You know, obviously you know what's happened with people writing stuff about me. Or, you know, calling me a leech and all that other stuff. You know. Even having your friends or people that you thought were your friends, Andy from NYC, turn against you in such a vile, disgusting way. I don't understand why he did it, but I can only assume. Now he has it really bad. All right, he does have it worse than me. All right, I never said he didn't have it bad. All right, which is especially why I don't understand why he's doing this. But I think I know why, and it's because the trolls that are part of this whole plan to, you know, basically keep people quiet, are telling him, hey, there's something in it for you if you go against John. So I think there's something in it for him. I really do. I think there's something in it for him. And that's what they do. It's just like high school. And everybody is afraid to talk. Everybody is afraid to speak up against what's going on. As neighborhoods like Mineola are being redlined, simply because they aren't diverse, because they're not white enough, and they're not enough of a certain demographic of these finance professionals living there. And the same things happen to Westbury, the same things happen to Hicksville. It's happening to all the communities. New Hyde Park, it's happening to all the communities that are diverse. Just because of their diversity, just because we're not a certain demographic. It's not a homogeneously white group of people, a block of people, like you have in those South Shore towns like Rockville Center or Lynbrook or Belmore, Merrick, or Wandsor, Seaford, Massapequa, etc., Babylon. You know, it's not a homogenous group of that group of people. So we're not going to take care of it like we do in that area. Just like the crooked poles here, we're not going to take care of it. And then the real estate people are going to steer the problems into our communities. So instead of a single family house being sold to a single family, it gets sold to a landlord or maybe even a slumlord who decides to divide it into illegal apartments. And in those illegal apartments, you're going to have people of questionable character in there. Could be ex-cons, could be criminals. You're going to have that in there. All right. And the real estate people are steering that. They're making that. That's what's destroying our communities. And then in the legal apartments, the same thing happens, where regular people are steered away, and they steer the problems in. And then they also, all right, programs are allowed to rent here, but they're not allowed to rent there. So they're allowed to rent here in Mineola, but they're not allowed to rent in Rockville Center because, well, that's a certain demographic. We can't have that. We got to make sure that community gets taken care of. But let's put all the poor people in one community and segregate them away. That's the mentality that they have. And then the poor people have to deal with all the problems that are dumped in their community. And that's what's going on. That's how the plan works. And if you don't like it, well, that's how the plan works, is that you're going to have to leave and live somewhere else other than Long Island because you've been priced out. That's how they do it. That's how they do it. That's real estate, finance, working together with our corrupt politicians to look the other way. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is illegal. Of course it is. But there's no enforcement. I mean, Newsday did an article about racism and nothing ever happened. Nothing ever came of that. There was no investigation. There was no one was charged. No one went to jail over it. Nothing happened. All right? It's the same thing. All right? Now, Long Island is my home, and it's going to be very hard to leave Long Island. And it's going to be very hard to leave Mineola, too, because there's still a lot of things that I like about Mineola, even with all its problems. I happen to like its central location. I happen to like the way the train, even though the train, I'm not really happy with the way Third Track has come along. I like the fact that Mineola can get you to the Ronkonkoma, Oyster Bay, and Port Jefferson branches. You're not going to be able to do that on the South Shore. So that's another thing. It's also a little further from the Pines, the South Shore, and that's another issue. There is one middle of the island town I could possibly consider to move into, and that is Farmingdale. That is one exception. For some reason, Farmingdale, I haven't been there in a couple of years. I have to actually see what it's like again. But Farmingdale, they have a really nice town. It's bustling and a lot of investment going on there. It seems to be taken care of. It's one of the middle of the island towns that kind of bucks the trend, so to speak. However, again, you're not going to have the bus service. The bus service is not all that good over there. I mean, it's worse than Mineola, but it's not as bad as many other areas. But the bus service is not great. All you have is the 70, 71, 72. And if you want to get south, you only have the 71, which takes you to Sunrise Mall, which is not going to connect up with that train line at all. You'd have to walk over to Route 110 and get the S1. So yeah, the transportation definitely a little more of an issue. Mineola, I like the way it's. Even though I don't like the way the middle of the island is laid out, I sort of like the way it's laid out. And like I said, if all this other stuff wasn't going on, with all these problems just happening in our town, and the fires, I would never want to move. But the reality of it is I just don't see it getting any better. I can keep hoping and praying and trying to change it and trying to wake people up, because I really wish people, if everybody realized what was going on and spoke up, this would stop. This would be exposed. But everybody is intimidated. Everybody is afraid. The bullies, whether they be bullies on YouTube or bullies in our government, like Governor Cuomo, they get away, or ex-Governor Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo, he's not going to jail. It's unbelievable. He groped women. There was tons of evidence out there that he behaved inappropriately and violated women's rights, and yet he walks because he's Andrew Cuomo, because he intimidated the judges, he intimidated everybody. And he gets his way, and people just don't want to stand up to him. Maybe, like I said, I think he's definitely, the intimidation is very deep that's going on. And most people, they just don't want to go through what I've gone through, for speaking up. Having their, what I've gone through, the trolls, This is what these trolls are all. They sound like, oh, they're, I don't think they're all one people. They're different people in different areas that are, I believe, getting paid off by these people, these corrupt people. They're getting paid off by them. There is something in it for them to keep bothering me. They're not just doing it because they like doing it. There's something in it for them. There has to be something in it for them. And that's how they work. That's how they work. And then very few people want to speak up for me because they're threatened and intimidated and bullied too. And people don't want to get threatened, intimidated, bullied, so they just let me have it all. There are a few people out there spoken up for me, and I really appreciate it. But I really wish more people would. It's not right. It's not right. We cannot be scared. We cannot be intimidated. We cannot be afraid of this, all right? Because we're going to lose Long Island, and to me, Long Island is still a place worth fighting for. But I know it's an uphill battle. It's an against all odds battle. You're going to have to go live in New Jersey, and it's going to be much harder to live there. Tom's River is a nice little place. I love the Pine Barrens there, and and you can sort of get around, so to speak, but it is not as, it's not laid out like Long Island in any way, all right? And it's dark as hell at night there, too, by the way. Except that in the downtown area, it is dark everywhere over there. So damn dark over there. It's darker than Mineola. It's just so dark there. I don't like that either. I just want to stay here on Long Island. I'm not giving up on that yet. Like I said in my other videos, I'm going to fight like hell to stay here on Long Island. What I want, I still wish this would stop. I wish this discrimination and corruption would stop. I wish bail reform would be repealed, because bail reform is a key part of that plan that the elite have for us. Because instead of having these criminals in jail where they belong, they're dumped into our communities. And that's a tool that they use to make life miserable for the poor, the working class, the disabled, the seniors, people of color. That's the tool they use to make our lives miserable. While the white finance professionals and the limousine liberals that are supporting this, they're sitting pretty in their enclaves. They don't have to deal with any of the crap we're dealing with. They're unleashing all the problems on us. Well, they're not dealing with them. And that is outrageous. That is outrageous. We shouldn't stand for that. We shouldn't stand for that at all, one bit. That's all I got to say on that, because bail reform is to go. Bottom line. Kathy Hochul has to go, because she supports bail reform. It's obvious she has no interest. She will run her mouth again to how she cares about us. But in the past, 3 or 4 months she's been the governor, she hasn't done anything to help us. She hasn't really done anything to help us. She's focused on the pandemic. She's not focused on the crime that's continuing to get worse. Even Channel 12 today, for once, Channel 12 actually spent 8 minutes, the first 8 minutes of the news, talking about all the crime going on. I couldn't believe it. It's really getting harder and harder to ignore what's going on. And Andrea Stewart-Cousins thinks there's a problem. Well, I think Andrea Stewart-Cousins should be voted out. I think Carl Heastie should be voted out. I think Kathy Hochul should be voted out. And if you want, like I said, I feel that you need a Democrat like Tom Suozzi running for governor. You need a centrist, not a liberal, all right? Because the liberals, again, people think liberals are out to help the poor and the minorities, but they're out to hurt us. They're out to hurt us. This is how they hurt us. I'm not saying conservatives aren't looking out for the same group of people, because they are too. It's both sides of the aisle. In New York, you have to have a lot of control from Wall Street. They're out to make sure that their kind gets the best, that their kind is taken care of, while the rest of us get screwed, so they can drive us out of New York. All right, and a lot of people have left. They don't want to deal with their declining quality of life, and it's not cheap to live here, so they leave. But to me, this is home, and it's still worth fighting for. So I'm not giving up just yet, and I really wish this would stop. I wish this would stop. I wish I wouldn't have to go through moving. I wish things would get taken care of properly. I wish my town would turn around. They'd stop dumping the problems here. I wish we'd get the respect that we deserve. I wish we'd get new businesses and investment. I wish these fires would stop happening. But I can wish all I want. It's not going to change the direction that we're heading in. And I have to look out for myself and say, you know what, it's time to move someplace better. And as far as, a lot of the housing, the mental health housing, is substandard. A lot of it is. And it's not right. And there are very few people out there speak up and say, you know what, I wish Governor Hochul would say, you know what, people in mental health housing deserve to live in a safe, desirable, thriving community that has good access to public transportation. And they deserve to live in safe, well-kept apartments. All right? That's what I wish the governor would do. All right? Nobody talks about this. And because of the very responses that I get. Well, he doesn't work, so he doesn't deserve those things. That's their attitude. Oh, get a job. That's what they say, get a job. Like, you don't have anxiety disorder. You don't have depression. You don't know what it's like to get sick from stress, so shut up. Are you a trained psychologist or a psychiatrist? Because those people, along with neurologists, have diagnosed me with this disability. I can't work. I can't handle it. There are people out there who can't work. Can't you understand that? They don't. They don't understand that. They're the same bigots that voted for Trump and still would vote for him again. It's the same type of mentality that we have. It's the same type of mentality, and I have a big problem with that. I'm not saying I want to live in some luxury apartment. I'm not saying I want a luxury car. I just want to be safe. I just want to be safe. Why should being safe only be for a certain demographic? I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. I really don't. I just wish this would stop, but I know that it won't. I know that this cycle will continue. People will continue to be afraid and intimidated to speak up. But I believe I will continue to speak up because I think sometimes we do get results. Particularly, I think we do get some results with the transportation. We keep speaking up about it. And I'm going to talk about that in another video. Some good news in that term. Good news. But I just wish this would stop. There's no reason why, again, Mineola, in an ever-changing climate that we're going through. So Mineola is one of the safest places to be living as we deal with climate change. All right. Rockville Center, Long Beach, Babylon, especially Babylon Village. There is I would say, a very good chance within the next 5 years, those places are going to be flooded. And they're going to keep getting flooded more and more and more. And it's only going to get worse as we deal with sea levels rising, more and more storms. There are going to be more and more places that are uninhabitable. But unfortunately, the people who make the decisions to invest, they look at skin color, they look at income, they don't look at climate change. They're just obsessed with the demographics of a place. It's not the safety from climate change and how feasible it's going to be to keep inhabiting these places. All right, but some people they don't get it. They don't get it. They don't understand the reality of climate change, and they'll just look at what happened with Long Beach. Sandy decimated Long Beach, and Long Beach came back fancier than ever. Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, Long Beach came back fancier than ever. I mean, it's just more and more of an enclave than it's ever been. And they think that they think, oh, it's not going to happen again. Oh, it will happen, and next time it will be worse. They just don't want to listen. They don't want to listen to common sense. They just don't want to listen to common sense. They just don't. They just don't. And like I said, I got to keep. Even though I say, I know I always say I give up on the middle of the island. I just can't give up. Not when I know that climate change is going to wreck the South Shore. But as far as where I'm going to move, I'm going to just keep looking, man. I got to start looking, and I really don't want to stay in Mineola because of the changes going on, but I'd like Farmingdale, but the transportation's a setback. I just wish if somebody said, "What do you want?" What if a genie came to me and said, "What do you want?" You have one thing, one thing, and I would tell them, I want the middle of the island to be treated properly. For the stuff, for Mineola to be thriving. For where I live to be taken care of. So I wouldn't have to move. That's what I want. I want everybody to be treated equally. It doesn't matter what your color of your skin is. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter if you have a disability tonight. Everybody should be safe. Everybody should have a good quality of life. Everybody should have a thriving town. Everybody should have their infrastructure taken care of. Everybody should be safe from fires. Everybody. That's what I want. But what I want and the reality of things is two totally different things. And I have to consider. I have to start looking to find a better living situation. I don't know if it's going to be on the South Shore. I don't know if it might be in Farmingdale. I don't know if it might be in New Jersey. But I don't see things turning around here, unfortunately. As much as I can wish all I want, it's not going to change the reality. And, and it's almost like making a weather forecast. You're making a forecast for the middle of the island. You're making a forecast for where you live based on the observations you're seeing. And the observations are the trash getting worse, the observations of the crime getting worse, the neglect of the infrastructure, the kind of characters you have hanging around, swag walking all over the place, the homeless, continuing, more and more of them continuing to come, and all these fires that are now occurring. The observations say this is not an area that's going to get better. It's only going to get worse, and it's going to get worse at an accelerating rate. And I have to go somewhere where the observations say that it's going to stay a safe place. And ideally, I'd like to be safe from the ravages of climate change and be safe from the crime and have a good quality of life. So that's why I should consider Farmingdale. I know somebody suggested that, and I definitely will. However, the transportation is going to be a little more difficult there. But it's in some ways it's worse, some ways it's better because if I'm in Farmingdale, I can just walk to the pines. I can walk, see some pines at Pine Lawn, and that would be really nice. Wouldn't have to worry about transportation getting shut down. I could still see some pines no matter what. So that's a positive. So I'm definitely willing to consider Farmingdale. I did look there when I was trying to move out of Westbury, and I was discriminated against. I was discriminated against. I found an apartment that would have actually worked out, and they said, no programs. It's illegal. I contacted one of the housing discrimination agencies on Long Island about it, and he's like, well, there's not really much we can do. You have to prove it. It's hard to prove it. I'm like, it's like they just get away with it. This has got to stop. Somebody has got to fight for us. Why won't anyone fight for us? Well, that's going to be it for this video. And again, I just want to say I'm very grateful that it wasn't worse. I'm very grateful that I still have a place to live. I'm very grateful that at least the landlord sort of fixed certain things. He finally fixed the smoke detectors. You know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they were excellent. They were excellent. Like the first 3 years I was here, excellent. And it wasn't sold. It's the same people that own it. And now, I don't know. They're not keeping things up like they used to. I don't understand why. I don't understand why. I just don't. I'm not a real estate person, so I don't understand that aspect of it. I mean, they seem nice whenever I speak with them. They're very friendly. But they're not fixing things. You know, intercom, I mean, come on. How hard is it to fix an intercom? It's been broken for like almost the entire year. You know, basically because I don't have an intercom, if I get a package I got to sign for, I can't. They have no way of notifying me that they're here. I'm not going to sit out there all day and wait for it, so I have to have it sent somewhere else. So it's ridiculous. But anyway, and I want to say there are a lot of good people that live here in Mineola. It's not, we don't have that many snobs here. You know, it's not like the South Shore where there's so many of these snobby people. There's good people here. And there's good people that live in a lot of areas that are in some trouble. They deserve better. We all deserve better. And I'm going to keep speaking up about this because I have to. I have to because no one else will. No one else is brave enough. You know, I may have a disability, I may have these problems, but I'm brave. I'm brave to come here and speak to you about all these things. And I'm going to continue to do that. Even as they continue to harass and troll and bully me, I'm going to continue to do it. And what's ridiculous is YouTube. I report these videos. YouTube does nothing. Yet, if I complain about the pandemic, they yank down my video and give me a warning, saying that next time I do it, I'll get a strike. YouTube is really messed up with their priorities right now. But again, I think YouTube is also, they're owned by Google. They're looking out for Wall Street corporations. You know, and one day they may just shut us down. They may just say, that's it, goodbye, account suspended, you went against a certain demographic. Reddit, I mean, Long Island Reddit already got rid of me. They got kind of talked to you about it a little bit, but yeah, the Reddit, I still have to call them out because I went against a certain demographic, so they basically blocked me from posting anything. Unbelievable. I didn't really violate any community, any guidelines of anything. I just talked about how what's happening with how certain communities are being discriminated against, while other communities are taken care of just because of demographics. And they cut me off. They're just like, I post and it shows up, but every time I post, they take the post down. It doesn't matter what it's about. It could be a picture of a sunset. They take it down. Already tried to contact the moderators. Not blacklisted from the Long Island Reddit. But that's what happens. You speak up against a certain demographic, you get blacklisted. It's just the United States of America. It's like people behaving almost like it's Nazi. I mean, I don't want to make the stretch to that, but it's like people just don't want to speak up. They're afraid of the consequences of speaking up. This is the United States. You should be able to speak up without being worried about being bullied, intimidated, and threatened. It shouldn't be happening. But anyway, I know this has been a long video, but I figured I would talk to you face to face about what's going on. Wish me luck with everything. And please, no more fires, please. These fires have to stop. All right? They have to stop. People need to take it seriously. Everybody needs to look at their living situation, make sure that there are no fire hazards. They got to make sure that all their smoke detectors are working, and if they're hardwired, they got to have their backup battery in there. This is no joke. All right? And of course, when it comes to smoking, get your butt outside and smoke there. Don't ever smoke. If you live in a multi-tenant building, don't ever smoke in a multi-tenant building. Because when you do that, you're putting your life at risk. You're putting the lives, you're putting everybody at risk because you got to have that damn cigarette. It's ridiculous. If it was up to me, people who smoke in multi-tenant buildings, they'd be arrested. They would be put in jail because you're putting other people's lives at risk. And people who are dangerous and put other people's lives at risk, they don't belong in society. All right? They don't belong in regular society. All right? That's the way I feel about it. If they want to be in regular society, then they stop being a danger to other people. All right? Whether that be people smoking in their apartments, whether it be criminals robbing and threatening people and beating people up for no freaking reason. You see all the crime going on in the city and the crime going on here. A lot of these deranged people, you know. Yeah, but again, the governor doesn't care. She wants them out on the street so she can drive us out. But you're not going to drive me out so quick. I'm still going to fight like hell to stay on Long Island. It's where I belong. Well, that's going to be it for this video. I want to thank you for watching and take care.